To some, it seems like the writing was on the wall for Frank Lampard. And while we do know, gents, that Chelsea can be quite ruthless when it comes to managers, at the end of the day, Frank Lampard really only had about 4 months when it comes to this Chelsea side that he's acquired in the summer. Was his sacking brutal to you, Tony?
You keep coming to me, didn't you? Brutal, yes, absolutely. You know, he's a great man, great. But it's a bit of... The English perception is kind of, you know, in Europe and my last club in Spain, you know, it's quite a common thing, and they don't actually hold it against the coaches. You know, it's in England, it's so kind of dramatic, and it's like he's the worst coach in the world now, you know. But like I say, Benitez has been sacked 3 times and Mourinho a couple of times, and it's just kind of what happens. And you said it earlier, Chelsea are a club that turn over their coaches quite regularly. So it's no surprise for me, to be completely honest with you. They're a very ambitious club, and I think the decision makers at the club, they turn around their coaches.
And let's be honest, Tony, it's not as if Frank Lampard didn't know what the club was about. So he would have known exactly what he was going into there, and he would have been well aware that any kind of bad run would get punished, because that's just what happens at the football club. And he accepted that challenge and he took it on. And it has ended probably the way, you know, most managerial appointments end at Chelsea. And so the important thing from here on in, from Frank's point of view, is that, as Tony said, you know, it becomes a big drama, but it's important for Frank not to let that affect him, not to let that drain any confidence away from him. I'm sure that, you know, he will be back as a manager. He probably won't be as high a profile a job, perhaps, his next one, but he will be back and he will build his career again. And it's important that he doesn't get too down about it.
It's probably not just
2 things, Matt. Sorry to cut across you here, but you know, I think last season the transfer kind of embargo helped him a little bit. It gave him a bit of time, and I think there was a period last season where they were looking to get rid of him. You know, they go through him, and he got them up in the end to 4th in the table. And likewise, it's the other side. If there was a stadium full of Chelsea kind of Frank Lampard fans, I'm sure they might have given him a little bit more time. I think it's a very good point.
But, gents, do you guys think that if fans were about, that would have made the difference here today, Tony?
Yeah, I do. That's the point. You know, it's very interesting that you know, he's such a legend of the club. You know, and I think you do Solskjaer up at Man United. I think you will get a little bit longer, I think, because, you know, his relationship with Roman as well. I'm sure, you know, it's not a nice thing to do to a legend of the club. So I'm sure they did hesitate. But I think their philosophy is changing over coaches. So the minute it kind of drops below their level, their expectations, I think they turn to the next one.
But regardless of fans, though, I mean, Tony, when it comes to things like these, in hindsight, it's a wonderful thing, you see. But with the summer spending that Chelsea have spent, was that perhaps, looking back at it, a bit of a poison chalice? And if that's the case, and if they did spend the amount of money, shouldn't they at least be giving Frank Lampard just a bit more time to try to work something out?
Absolutely. You know, it's kind of ludicrous, to be honest with you. You need to give all coaches time, you know, 2, 3, 4, 5 years. But it just, the reality is that these modern clubs that are kind of foreign owned, really, they actually turn their coaches over. Like I say, it's the mentality of the you know, when I was in Italy and Spain and all these other countries, they think nothing of it. They actually, you know, all the kind of philosophies, all the kind of stuff that you're putting out there as reasons not to maybe give him longer time, you know, give him some more time it kind of makes perfect sense to us, but not to them. They're like, actually, we need to get here. We need to get up here. We're going to just turn these coaches over until I get a coach that can deliver us what we need.
So with Thomas Tuchel coming in then, gents, I mean, he's someone who has trophy in his cabinet from France and the German Cup as well. But he's also someone that has a bit of controversy with him, particularly with management. What can we expect from Thomas Tuchel in his era at Chelsea, Matt?
Well, I think you're right. I think he has. It's been well documented that perhaps there's been falling out with players due to his managerial style. So let's be quite honest. He's probably going to fit in pretty well at Chelsea. It's going to suit him down to the ground. They seem like a match made in heaven, but I would be incredibly surprised if in 2 years' time we were doing another programme and he was still the manager of Chelsea. That's the sad bit about it. Hopefully he does do well for them and he is given time. But I mean, let's be honest. I think given the riches available to him at PSG, I'm pretty sure I could have won the league the last couple of seasons.
Tony, does he feel like a good appointment to you?
Oh, he's a good old defender. You know, I remember him from his playing days. Did a great job with Dortmund. And I agree with Matt. You know, even I could have won the league with PSG. Even me and Matt could have turned up, done it parked or over Zoom. We could have done it over Zoom and won the league with PSG with the riches. So Chelsea's a different proposition. Absolutely. And then you look at Klopp, who's another German up at Liverpool. You know, they might have been in there thinking that, oh, he's done really well at that club. He's got the grand in. He might be able to come over and, you know, another German come over and help our club. And if you remember Klopp, he was given time. So all these managers have to get a little bit of time. So, but he's definitely got the credentials to. He's really solid. He's really hard. He does it his way. You know, it's like us old defenders. We like to be fully in control of every aspect of the playing pitch.
Would you consider him an elite manager then? Is he the elite manager that Chelsea needs?
I think he's got wonderful experience. You know, he's got, like I say, PSG, Dortmund, you know, the top clubs in those top leagues around the globe. So, you know, definitely he's got the experience at top level, Champions League level. And yeah, I think it's you know, I can get into the thinking of the Chelsea hierarchy, why they've done it, you know, why they've actually gone in this direction. I can see that. I can see German, I can see solid, good grooming, coached around the world. Yeah, I can see why they've appointed him.
Matt?
Yeah, of course. As Tony says, plenty of experience. But I'm just, in terms of an elite coach, I don't think you can kind of put him in the bracket of a Mourinho or a Guardiola just yet. I think he has to achieve a little bit more for him to be able to be spoken about in the same breath as those guys and Jurgen Klopp. I would say so.
He beat my Gabala team, so he must be quite good. He brought Dortmund to Azerbaijan, so I think he's doing all right.